This is Caitlin Blackwood. I played young Amelia Pond on Doctor Who, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast.
The tangents and squee continue all the way to episode 181 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast, and I just knocked my water bottle over, but that has nothing to do with this show. But that's currently what's happening with me. Let's find out what else is currently happening with us.
That was a good segue. I quite like that.
I make these up as I go. Most of the time. Anyway, welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you joined us. Let's start off like we do every week. We'll go to the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Bethlehem.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
We're here.
Yes.
We're all here.
We're here in the cold.
Yes.
I imagine the weather is going to come up at least a couple of times during this discussion.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yep.
seems to be a hot button issue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But first, we need to do the news. Not that there's a whole lot. I don't know if I should be happy or scared.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So,
I'm to the point right now where no news is good news.
yeah. Okay. So first up, we got a new trailer for Solo, a Star Wars story, and it's Chewie.
Yep.
There's a lot of Chewie in the trailer. Actually,
the Millennium Falcon. Yep. Yeah, I think it's a way to like saying, hey guys, this guy really is Han Solo because see Chewie.
yeah,
And I'm just
and the
going
Falcon.
like, who's this guy that Chewie's hanging out with?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me that I'm struggling with this guy is his voice.
Yes.
The voice isn't quite right, because even back then, in the original Star Wars trilogy, just Harrison Ford has got this kind of gravelly sound to his voice even then, and it's obviously gotten even gravelier as he's gotten older, and as we saw in The Force Awakens. And this guy, his voice is just, it's too clean. He needs to gargle some pebbles or something.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's supposed to be young Han Solo, and so, but his hair bothers me too. I don't know why the hair, but the hair.
Hey, we all do weird things with our hair when we're young, so.
That is true. That is true. It's just, I'm willing to, I was saying earlier, I'm willing to be convinced. I'm not buying him as Han Solo yet. I do buy Donald Glover as Lando.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
That
Definitely.
is, yeah, if they change this movie to be called Lando, yeah,
That would work.
that would work.
Lando with an appearance by Han Solo.
Exactly. Because I think if memory serves, Lando actually had Millennium Falcon first, and Han won it in Game of Savik.
Yep.
Unless they changed that.
We'll find out.
That's the original story that I...
Or they could just call this, to make this a Millennium Falcon origin story.
Yeah, really.
There we go. And Rachel, I agree with you. If they don't show the Kessel Run, there's something wrong.
Yes.
Yes.
We better get the Kessel Run, or I'm going to have words with Ron Howard.
Yes.
I don't care who you are and how many Oscars you've won.
I mean, I don't think 12 parsecs is that incredibly long that it would take up that much film.
Yeah.
Probably not. I don't know. I don't know how long I don't know what the Kessel Run was, and we don't know how long a parsec is, so.
True.
TV Tropes calls that the noodle incident, where you hear about it, but you don't hear any great details, and everyone wants to know about it because it's a thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Anyway.
But anyway, yeah, Star Wars. It's a coming. So.
know, it almost snuck up on me. I was like, oh, right, that's coming out next month.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
it hasn't moved, so.
No, it hasn't. It's just, I didn't realize how close May was until...
Yeah. Well, it's a Memorial Day weekend release, so.
Well, yeah.
As you would expect, so. Big holiday weekend. Some big movie's gonna get released then, so. Maybe by the time, you know, it'll be a month post Infinity War. Maybe we'll all have recovered by then. And we'll be ready for Star Wars. So, anyway, let's see. Our other piece of news is we have a release date and some casting announcements for the Hogwarts Mystery mobile game. So it actually is
not too much longer for that either.
Yeah, April 25th. So just a couple weeks. It will be available on Apple and Android platforms. But there are going to be several familiar voices from the Harry Potter universe voicing their respective Hogwarts professors and staff members, including Warwick Davis as Professor Flitwick, Sally Mortimer as Irma Prince, the librarian, Gemma Jones as Madame Pomfrey, Zoe Wanamaker's coming back as Madame Hooch, Michael Gambon is coming back to voice Professor Dumbledore, and Dame Maggie Smith is going to be back voicing Professor McGonagall.
That last one, I'm like, yes.
Yes. So, it's based on the time frame that they've said this takes place. It's not too far back in pre-Harry Potter days, but it is pre-Harry Potter days. I have not read or heard anything on what they may possibly do for Snape, if they would just take audio from the movies or what. So, because obviously he is no longer with us to come back and...
Yeah, I haven't heard anything either, so that's going to be interesting to...
Yeah. So... we will find out on April 25th. I'm going to have to clear out some space on my phone.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, yeah, it's like, how's this going to work?
How much is it going to eat up? And I am hoping that they could link to our Pottermore account so we don't have to go through the sorting process and we could have the houses that we got sorted into.
Yeah. Then I got to figure out which Pottermore account to use because I have like 15.
Ooh.
I'm slightly exaggerating. I have enough Pottermore accounts. I have been sorted into every house once.
Oh wow!
So you're just you're an insane alien hybrid.
Yeah,
for
pretty much.
Hogwarts.
Pretty much.
Or you're a very well-rounded Hogwarts student.
Yes.
Or that too.
Yes.
I heard someone they did like this where you get the house percentages, and so it's like 50 already, not 50, but 25% or something, whatever it was, for four of them, and like undivergent.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the house for the people who don't fit in just one?
Yeah, really. So, yay. Now it just needs to warm up outside so I can go outside and play.
Right.
Please take note. So, that's it for news. Like I said, rather quiet.
Yeah. They're waiting for Infinity War to come out before
pretty much
doing anything wild and crazy.
Pretty much so. And then we don't have any feedback, so we'll go right on to this week's topic. So this is one we've not done in a while. We've only done this one twice. And the last time we did it was Halloween. Was the last time this particular topic was done. And as Brittany realized, it's been a year since we did it for the first time. So
I know. When she said that, I was like, "Wow, we've been a really long year, or it's been a really long year. We've done a lot of stuff between that because I thought it'd been a lot longer."
Yeah. But this isn't one that this is kind of one of those. Well, it's like we don't have anything very specific to talk about, so this just gives us an opportunity to talk about a lot of things for a short while instead of one thing for a long while.
Yep.
So we call this currently, and then there's what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 prompts essentially, and we go down the line and fill in the blank essentially. So.
Yep. And this is like you said, it's a fun one to do. If we get to talk about a few things we're doing really short and things that we wouldn't necessarily spend a whole podcast episode on, but it fits nicely in this little format.
Yep. So, and first on the list is one of the most popular topics, I am sure, is what we are currently reading.
I can start first. I'm reading Instinct by James Patterson. It was actually originally titled Mind Games. They renamed it Instinct because it's the book that they based the new Instinct TV series on. And I'm kind of a couple chapters in, and so far the premise has stayed the same with a couple, of course, for the TV they did a few more changes, but it's really good. A behavioral analysis professor gets called into the FBI to help solve crimes when the police department actually from New York, when somebody is copying some stuff from his book on freaks and killers. And so far so good. And the other book that I am reading is if I understood you, would I have this look on my face, by Alan Alda. It's also My Adventures in the Art and Science of Relating and Communicating. And it's basically with all his acting and the stuff that he did with PBS, that communication and how we interact with each other, how important it is. And that it's an art, and it's pretty simple. How I found out about it is I was listening to the rebranded Nerdist. I'm like, oh, this sounds interesting. Picked it up, and I'm a few chapters into that, and I'm enjoying it. And for those of you who have ever seen Alan Alda and MASH or have seen his PBS stuff, it's just if you're reading it, you can hear his voice when you're reading the book. And for those of you who are book afraid, there is an audiobook version, and he does narrate it.
Awesome.
And it's unabridged. And from that interview on the Nerds, he is going to be starting his own podcast in July.
There you go.
So.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay. So, I've been, if any of you follow me on Goodreads, which you can look me up, find me through the book club. I've been on a tear, mostly because it's one of those things that, when I'm working, I've got Alex I take care of, and this is my thing that I do for me to kind of recharge and keep things in balance. So right now I am going through all of Sarah M. Eden. I don't know if our audience knows about her. She's a local to me author, and she writes historical fictions, clean historical romance. I know some people hear historical romance and they're like, oh, I don't, some people do, some people don't want the graphic stuff, and I kind of tend to both. But she came and did an author event about a month ago at the library system I work for, and it was a big one. It was a pretty packed house. I'd started reading some of her books. My sister-in-law really likes her stuff, and she was really great as an author, as a presenter, and talking about all her books and how she gets ideas for them. Like one series she has is the Lancaster family, which the fourth one comes out next February. And it's this, family, Regency England. The first one, she gets the ideas for this story from adapting like Greek mythology stories. Like the first one is called Seeking the Hades and Persephone myth, and the hero is the Duke of Kildare, and he is this really notorious. People don't want to piss him off. You cross him at your own peril. But then then there's this thing happens, and a lady, her name is Persephone, and his name's Adam. He's not Hades, but he is the Hades in the story. But Persephone's family, her dad was like really into Greek mythology, so he named all his kids after figures in Greek mythology. So it's kind of a wink and a nod. But there, it takes a while. It took a while for me to kind of buy into their relationship, but after a while, it really clicked, and you can tell like they really care about each other, and it's really cute and everything. And then there's two more books that are out. The last one that just came out maybe 6 months ago, can't remember the date, is Romancing Daphne, and that one I just had a blast reading. So that was great. So I've been reading all of her books. She does a lot of, so she does some indie publishing, and she also publishes with with Shadow Mountain. That's a Utah-based publisher, so it's a small press, but it's very popular around here. But you could find it on Amazon, I'm sure. Well, I know you can because I have some of them on my Kindle. And then I've also been reading the Wings of Fire series by Tui Sutherland. It's a children's middle grade series. It's about dragons, and it's a fantasy series. And it's these little dragons are called dragonettes. They're baby dragons, and they're supposed to be raised to fight evil, awful dragons. There's a lot of really good world building. It's simple storytelling. Like I said, it's a middle grade book. A lot of the kids at the library are reading it, and they always want the next one. So I'm like, I'm gonna give this a try. So if you like middle grade fantasy, this one's a good one to get into. Or you like dragons. I mean, even if you like dragon stories, and even if you're not a little kid, or you could still enjoy this. So I'm liking it so far. I'm just on the first book. And then the other one I've been reading, because I found out they're making a movie of it, and this is kind of one of those, book club books that a lot of people read to look smart. But it's actually really fun so far. It's I'm not going to be able to pronounce the name of the town, but it's the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. And it's historical fiction. It's this journalist right after World War II, this British journalist is finding out about the German occupation of one of the islands in the English Channel, and the people that started this literary society kind of on accident, because the Germans were occupying the island. They were out past curfew doing some things that were illegal under the Germans, and they made up they were like, oh, we're at our literary society meeting, and it ran late. Sorry. And so then they had to create the literary society, and they're all like, we don't like to read books. Well, okay, some of them do, not all of them do, and they're kind of this hodgepodge of characters. And so this journalist is writing letters to these people. So the book is told in letters, and then there's other stuff going around with the journalist and around these people. But that's the gist of the story. And she's finding out what happened to them during the war, because the main action takes it takes place in 1946. But it's all writing letters back and forth. And there is a movie of it that's coming out, and I think Netflix is going to have soon, because I think it's coming out in Britain, and then the rest of everywhere else has it on Netflix, if I'm understanding that right. So I was like, okay, this is making a movie of this. I should read this book finally. So I'm reading it. and it's fun so far. Kind of quirky, but definitely very enjoyable.
Cool.
And there's a lot more, but those are the ones I wanted to talk about.
I really only have. I'm only reading really one thing at the moment. Besides fanfic, book-wise, I have finally gotten back to picking up my copy of Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. So, and I stopped. I was slightly over halfway, and then I set it down for like a month or two, and it's just kind of sitting there like, read me. So I finally picked it back up, and hopefully we'll finish it sometime this century. So it would be nice. It's not that I don't like it. It's just I've gone from being a very fast reader to kind of a slow reader as I get older. So, and not having the time to just sit down and read for hours on end uninterrupted. But I am enjoying it. It's my first time ever reading anything by Pratchett or Gaiman. So, and I like it. It's definitely different than anything I've ever read before. That's about I think say without too much, I think. So I mean the fact that on the same right after the title page, right before like the dedication, it's got a caveat that says bringing about the Armageddon can be dangerous. Do not attempt it in your own home.
Yeah.
I love that.
and read the footnotes because those are even.
Oh yeah.
Those are humorous.
Yeah, the way that I've got a soft cover version, and the way that some of the footnotes are printed, it's a little distracting.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes they'll start and they'll go over to the next page, and it interrupts the flow of the book. But other than that, but I'm 216 pages in. I think I'm the day before Doomsday is supposed to occur, I think. So
yes,
all the characters are starting to travel their way to the location where the apocalypse is supposed to happen. So but
there's a couple nice nods to Queen.
yeah, I do like the fact that no matter what music he puts in the car, it all plays Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it should be fun though, because I know they finished production on the adaptation, the TV adaptation with David Tennant. So and
I
that's supposed
can't
to come
wait
out
to
next
see how
year.
they tackle some of the stuff.
Yeah, it should be fun. So, and then maybe once I finish this, maybe I'll go on to American Gods. So.
I will say this. I couldn't get into American Gods, but I loved Anansi Boys, which is the not exactly sequel, but sort of in the in the same ballpark. But yeah, that one was fun.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really all I'm reading at the moment. So, Brittany, what about you?
Well, after I finished Ready Player One a few weeks ago, I haven't really picked a book next until today, actually. And I'm only a few pages in, but I'm reading. It's by Rick Rodan, posted with Percy Jackson. I'm reading his Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard.
Oh, you're gonna love.
I'm only like
series.
A couple pages in, and it's always the same writing style and humor I expect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't wait to meet all the characters. I'm assuming gonna be seeing some familiar names, but I'm sure the personalities and the characters will be more the Norse God, not the Marvel comic deal. I'm excited.
It's a fun read.
And I'm like a whole bunch of books. Like, I was going through my bookshelf. I'm like, ooh, I forgot I had that book. So that's gonna be my reading experiment, I guess. Reading all the books I forgot I had. And then, as usual, on my phone, I have like a billion fanfic open.
Oh, yeah.
That's really it.
All right. Well, let's move on to what we are all watching.
All right. Well, for me, Instinct on CBS. Magician illusionist who teams up with the FBI to solve crimes with his illusionist team, and then The Crossing on ABC, which is from the creators of Lost, so it's kind of like Lost meets. I don't know how to.
Well, there's only one episode so far, so
yeah.
Hard to say how it's going to be just from
from the one episode.
Yeah.
Because it's people from the future who wind up some of them wind up surviving from this water type flood deal and in present day, and they're trying to solve stuff. So I'll let you know as it goes.
Yeah. Awesome. I've seen I've watched a couple of movies on, DVD and iTunes or Netflix, because that's all I can really do. I finally saw Coco.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it twice. I loved it.
It's good.
It's so good, and like all these little things I keep thinking about. I'm just so, and I'm so impressed by like there's some tropes that they used in that movie that. At first look, you think it's just a trope, but it's like no, it makes a lot of sense in the movie. Oh, it's kind of spoilery, but maybe I'll just go ahead and say it.
The plot takes some twists and turns. I'm like, I did not expect it to go, because it looked like it was going to go a certain way trope wise, and then it's like no,
totally different. Like, do we care about spoilers or no?
No,
I've seen it.
Okay.
Good.
So I figured Hector was Hector. I should do it right.
Yep, you said it right.
I figured that he was actually Miguel's great grandpa. I didn't think it was actually going to be De La Cruz. And then I remembered that when Andre did his review of this movie, he was like alluding to a trope that we've all seen. He didn't say it specifically because he did his review when the movie was still in theaters and didn't want to spoil, but I'm pretty sure he's like, the one that's the surprise villain that you don't think he's the villain and he turns out to be the villain. Mm-hmm. But I'm thinking like, that makes sense in this movie because De La Cruz stole Hector's his songs, he stole his guitar, he stole he would almost try to steal his family too. So it makes sense that Miguel would think that De La Cruz was his great-great-grandpa because the family never talked about the great-great-grandpa ever. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, that is so clever. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but I'm going to pretend they did because that was... Especially because we've been doing this trope so much of, oh, hey, this guy that you thought, or this, whoever this is, you thought the villain was this one person, but it's actually someone else, and this person you thought was really nice was actually the bad guy. Mm-hmm. Surprise!
Yeah. Well, and just meeting his family that had passed over.
Oh yes. Those guys are so much fun. The whole concept is just great.
Yes.
I'd known some of what Dia de los Muertos entailed because Jared he spent a couple of years in Mexico doing a church on a church mission for several years ago. So he's like, he knows about Mexican culture and things like that because he lived there. And he's told me some things, but there are some things about that I learned from this movie. So it was like,
and it was accurate.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of tell that how much research went into this, and even if you don't know anything about it, there's just a way that it's presented that it's like, yes, this is how it is. So it's a great movie. So if you haven't seen Coco yet, if you're like one of the 3 people, which there was 4,
awesome
me.
Soundtrack.
Yes, the soundtrack is great. The music's wonderful. The kid who plays Miguel, his voice is so good. He was excellent choice.
Yes. Be prepared for some feels, but very good feels.
Oh yes, very good
feels.
feels. Yes, it made me want to go. I was looking up some family history that I was working on. I was like, oh, it's my great grandpa. I just found some stuff, and it's like, it's not just this boring old dude in a black and white picture looking stern. Anyway, I've also watched Cars 3 finally. I really liked it a lot. Not as much as I liked Coco, and I liked Cars 1 a little bit more, but it was still really good. It was a fun one. And then we saw, Jared got the Ghost in the Shell movie with Scarlett Johansson. We watched that. And then he's a big fan of the anime, so we started watching some episodes of that. I've seen a few, but not much, so we just kind of started over. And that's really good. It's if you like cyberpunk, Blade Runner sort of things, it was it's that kind of anime show. And I know a lot of people were upset about Scarlett Johansson being cast in the movie. I'm just gonna say there's actually a plot reason that someone like her would be cast. Because the character, because what it is, the premise is the main character is the Major. That's who she is, and she's a robot with a human brain inside because they're trying to perfect artificial intelligence, but they could never do it. So they finally figured out a way to, and it's kind of, if you think about it too much, it's actually pretty horrible what they did to her.
Mm-hmm.
But she's part of this task force, again, that fights against, terrorists and things like that. But in the movie, she finds out that what they told her, how she died, because they say like, oh, your parents were killed in this accident. We saved you by, just barely. We took your brain and put it in this robot body. That she finds out that she was actually a freedom fighter. Going up against the corrupt government, and the government stole her, and they did experiments on her, and they took her brain and put it in the Scarlett Johansson robot body. But turns out she finds, and they alter her memories so she doesn't go looking for the people that she used to hang around with, and then she finds out who her mother is, and her mother's still alive. And her mother is this sweet, older Japanese lady who's been mourning her daughter because she thought that her daughter had died in this attack. So it's like, I'm sitting here watching this, I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense, the way they did it. Now, I don't know if everyone's going to accept that, because people get really, really...
It was really controversial.
Yeah. Controversy on the internet. Oh, that never happens. But I'm like, you know what? I accept this. And so, yeah, because the movie does take place in Tokyo, or well, a future version of Japan. I'm pretty sure it's Tokyo, big city. That's, if you watch any amount of anime and that takes place in a modern city, it's probably going to be Tokyo. But anyway, the movie was great. The anime is really good. I didn't realize, well, I knew I'd known it, but I'd forgotten that the voice of the Major in the dubbed version of the anime is voice actress who plays another character that is totally different from the major that I've seen in a show called Fishugi Yugi. She plays Noriko, who's like this very loud, boisterous, flamboyant character. The major is very much not. She's very, serious and focused on her job, which is a serious thing to do. Anyway, and then the other show I've been watching is Timeless. It's it's on NBC. I've been watching it on Hulu. I think they had another episode come out last night, and I can't remember.
Yes.
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet because I've been busy.
It's
but
good.
Oh, I'm
Salem
excited.
Salem Witch Trials.
Ooh, I'm excited for this. The Hollywood one they did was really good. So was the stock car racing.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the
Yes.
stock car racing episode.
That was a good one.
We got to see some inner fanboying, or outer fanboying.
Oh yes. But yeah, Timeless. They're doing really well this season, so I hope they get to keep going. It almost, if you remember, it almost got canceled last year, but they have a reprieve. So go watch that show and support it. So anyway, that's what I'm watching.
I can go next.
Go for it.
Well, I'm watching all the stuff Holly mentioned, and I'm watching Timeless, and I just started today watching season 2 of, a series of Unfortunate Events on Netflix.
To watch that.
Like, I've only seen like an episode and a half, which is basically like half of the book. And so far, it's really good. It's making all the same kind of jokes and almost fourth wall breaking. Like, for example, at the end of last season, they were like sitting at a bench at the school, and when you got back to the first episode of this one, they basically said, first we've been sitting on the bench for months. Even Sunny, the little baby, like, now she looks more like a toddler than a baby from what they were saying. It's kind of funny. That's it. I've been rewatching some older shows. Just like going through Hulu and Netflix, like, ooh, I haven't watched this in a while. Why not? That's basically it.
What have I been watching? Well, besides my usual TV shows, my 2 hours of TV a week, Once Upon a Time in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I have been, although it's due to end, I think, tomorrow afternoon, so depending on when you listen to this, it may be too late, but I have been watching on Twitch. There's a channel that's been streaming, not all of them, but a good chunk of the episodes of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood in honor of what would have been Fred Rogers' 90th birthday and the 50th anniversary of the show premiering. So that started a couple weeks ago, I think, and then it's slated to end tomorrow, I think. But it's been quite fun having that on, kind of playing in the, as I'm doing other things, playing in the background and just reliving my childhood after it hits a certain point. But especially seeing the stuff from way before I was born, like back when it was in black and white, and how much this show had evolved from the early days. The puppets did evolve somewhat, although once they hit a certain point, they pretty much stayed the same. I mean, the cast was pretty much the same the entire time. It's just the humans, you'd watch them age in some cases. In some cases, some of them didn't quite age as much. Some folks in the neighborhood have got really good genes. But and of course it's on Twitch, so there's a chat, and it's fun reading the chat because there's people of different ages and from different places around the world watching and chatting and talking about things, and whether they remember the episode airing or if they knew some sort of behind the scenes tidbit. It became a habit whenever Mr. Rogers feeds the fish. People would put the fish emoji in the chat and go, "Thank you, Father." So that's really kind of what I've been watching is Mr. Rogers. I would be kind of sad when it's over to not have it available, and I really wish maybe someone would pick up some other shows from PBS, like Reading Rainbow or something like that, but that doesn't seem to be the case anytime soon. But I don't know what I'm gonna watch after it's over, because I want to be Mr. Rogers' neighbor for forever. It's been fun reliving my childhood, though. That and the big MCU rewatch. That is the biggest thing. So almost there. Only three more to go. So and before you know it, Infinity War will be here. So watch Doctor Strange.
That'll be exciting.
Yep. It will be. I am excited. So I watched Doctor Strange last week. I think Guardians Volume 2 is next, and then Homecoming next week, and then Ragnarok after that. So it is quite interesting, though, like knowing what is coming, and then watching Civil War a couple of weeks ago, having Black Panther so fresh in my head. And then seeing Black Panther in Civil War, and it's like, oh, yeah, that, you saying that thing or doing that thing, that makes way more sense now. These rewatches, you know, after the fact, pieces that you didn't know were there before, and it's like, oh, that makes so much sense. Which make Infinity War quite interesting. That's all I'm really watching. So. So, let's see, what's next? Anticipating. Anticipation.
Well, for me, the anticipation was some of the stuff that we covered in the news, the Han Solo movie, the Avengers Infinity War, the Harry Potter mobile game, and then probably some of the books that I have on my to-be read list that are going to be coming out in the next couple of months.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way too. I picked up a couple of other things. I really want to see the Christopher Robin movie. Yeah, I was talking with someone at work the other day, just like some things that we're looking forward to, and that was one of them. I've kind of just resigned myself to the fact that I cannot get to the movie theater for various reasons, and not just time, although that is a factor. So I'm like, you know what? I will wait on DVD. So Black Panther, I'm like, hey, when's that going to be on iTunes or somewhere I can... grab it.
I think Black Panther's not slated to come out until May, so...
Oh, well, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Because I don't... Honestly, and this pains me to say, I probably won't get to see Infinity War right away either. I know, I just... Between the baby and work and finances have not been very cooperative lately, so that's mostly the reason. So I still want to see Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. So I'm trying to find that. I'm sure it's on iTunes somewhere, or I can get it from the library. We've got some birthdays coming up. Jared's is this month, mine is next month, and a bunch of family birthdays. And then we're also making plans to do Comic-Con. I think I've talked about this before. Jared has teamed up with a couple of his author friends. They're going to have a table there selling books. Although, and I will say this, the next Jared's next book is officially done editing. The covers should be done hopefully by tonight, and we're hoping to have it up on Amazon in the next, but by the end of this week at the latest.
Yeah.
So
add that to my anticipation list.
Yes, you should. It's awesome.
I've read the first one of the Black Veil, and I read the steampunk one, so I'm looking forward to book 2 of
this is book 2 of the Black Chronicles.
Yay!
I won't say what the title is yet because we actually had to. He decided to change it
okay.
last minute after some feedback from some of his writing workshop buddies, and they're like, "Yeah, you should change it." And so we kind of brainstormed a few things and came up with some stuff, and then and he's also got his working title Mech Bunny book. I don't know if I've talked about that one. It's a teen girl operating a giant mech that looks like a rabbit. That was the idea, and then and it's just kind of spun out from there. He was working on it some last year. He got stuck, and was working on some other stuff. But that one he's thinking he can get out in the next few months. So that one. So so all of those plus the 2 he has out now. He'll be selling those at Comic-Con. They'll also be. I mean, you can get them on Amazon once they go live, obviously. So there's that, and then we're planning a family trip to Bear Lake this summer. So that's just vacations. But hey, I'm anticipating it. So it's gonna be fun.
That's something.
Mm-hmm. And then Alex's first birthday will be here before we know it. I realized yesterday that his triplet cousins that were born last year, they're going to be a year next month.
Oh, wow.
Which is, this is weird to think about. All these babies that were being born in my family and some of my friends last year, they're all a year old this year. And I'm like, how, why, when, what, how?
Time flies when you're not sleeping because you have a baby.
That's true too. That's another time I read is when I'm up with him and he's just kind of dozing, and I'm trying to get him to go to sleep, and it can get boring sitting. So I read on my phone.
But
that's up. People ask me, "How do you read so much?" I'm like, I'm up at all hours of the night with a baby.
And there's an app for that.
Yeah.
Yes. Now I can't read a physical copy of a book, but on my phone, no problem.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Tab charger will read.
Yeah.
Yes. Alex is looking at me like, "Yeah, Mom, I know you read."
Sometimes you read
what
to
else
me.
is new?
And I read to him too. So.
Yeah. I know one thing Brittany is anticipating.
Yes.
A certain ticket that she's got mounted to her refrigerator.
Yes. In July, the end of July, I'm going to see Lindsay Sterling in concert, who I've been a big fan of her for years, and I've been trying to go to concert for probably as much as long as I've been a fan, but it never could work out between time, money, location. But this year, it's
the concert
all
God
aligned.
smiled on you.
Yes, all aligned. I had the money, the location's super close to where I live. I don't have work that day. I'm not on vacation. It's just perfect.
Stars aligned.
So, I'm so excited for that. Is it July yet?
Yeah.
I am jealous because I love Lindsay Sterling, and I could have gone to a concert of hers last year, but it was way too close to Alex's due date, and I was sad. But yeah, she's amazing. So I'm jealous in joy.
Yeah, I've been constantly listening to music, which I do normally anyway, but still, even more now.
To prep yourself, exactly. Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm. And other things I'm excited for, like my usual going on vacation. We're actually doing like a big party within that vacation, so that's exciting. It's like a lot of big anniversaries are happening this year in my family. So that's going to be fun. And my cousin has a wedding in September. Finally, we've been saying with those two. They've been going out for, I don't know how long, but it's been years. And then they were finally engaged last year. And then this year, tying the knot. That should be fun. And then basically just anticipating a bunch of movies and that stuff. All the fandom related stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm like so hyped for Infinity War. I can almost taste it. Like between all the movies that are coming up, Infinity War, Deadpool 2, Solo, I'm anxious for con season, really, for me. That's like the biggest thing that I'm I'm really excited for it to get here, but at the same time, like not, because I have stuff to do. So, I mean, obviously I had Indiana Comic Con and Hoosier Con, which kind of kicked off the season for me, but PopCon is kind of the real big first one for me, and that's going to kick off just like 3 months of absolute madness for me, culminating in a very well-deserved vacation, which I'm also anticipating, but I don't want to get here too quickly because I don't really want it to be September quite yet. Let's enjoy the summer.
Let's have summer vacation first.
Just a little. So, but yeah.
Hopefully summer will actually feel like summer.
Yeah, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm like, I'd like to have spring and kind of ease into the summer before we get the insane hot weather.
Yeah. But like, I'm hyped for PopCon and Gen Con and all that fun stuff, and I'm excited to go and hang out with my friends and meet some cool people and talk to some cool people and hopefully get some good content for podcasts and everything. And it's just like so excited. So I could cut the maybe not. So, and then family things too. I've got a couple of weddings coming up this summer, so which is good. I like weddings, especially when there's cake. No, even if I
weddings.
don't,
I like weddings. Drinks all around.
Yeah, so, like even the weddings where I don't even really know the bro because I'm Chauncey's plus one and it's people on like his side of the family that they all know. But as long as there's cake, I'm good. So I'm anticipating wedding cake.
Nice.
Totally down.
That is a good thing to anticipate.
Yep.
Well.
Wear a stretchy dress. All right. Next up, this is going to be fun. What are we laughing about?
Well, I'm laughing at this weather because I could either cry about it or laugh about it. And I think that laughing about it is probably the best thing to do in this case.
I totally agree.
And thank you, Sean, for posting that Facebook with Mary and Pippin. Yes, we've had first, second. What about third winter? It's like, okay, funny, but then also,
yeah.
A little schadenfreude.
Yeah. It's pretty ridiculous. You do though. You kind of have to laugh, otherwise you kind of cry. And it's funny because Tony had posted something like last week or whatever. People shouldn't complain so much about the weather because there isn't anything you can do about it, essentially. And it's like, yeah, I can totally, if you want to look at it that way, makes complete sense. Why complain about the weather? You can't do anything about it. Despite what the conspiracy theorists may say, the government does not control the weather using some satellites.
Complains about the weather because it's something we all have to deal with, and it's better, I guess, better than complaining about things that people could get snippy about. I guess.
Yeah.
That's not the right word, but that's all I could think about.
Yeah. No. I mean,
it's a safer topic to complain about.
Well, yes, that's true too.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are other things that
yes
could be discussed, which you probably wouldn't laugh at.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's just for me the biggest thing with the weather, and not everyone has this complaint, but I'm sure we may have a listener too that can understand my feelings in the matter.
And a fellow podcaster.
Yeah, a fellow podcaster is when it's cold, things hurt.
Oh yes. Big time.
Yes.
So
it's like, oh, ouch, you're there.
Yeah. So I have joint issues of several points of contention in my body for various reasons. They're different issues, but they're all they're all just joint issues. And when it gets cold, stuff hurts, and it's not fun. I would like to go with a stretch of time where my hip doesn't hurt, or my knees don't hurt, or my shoulder doesn't hurt. And anytime it gets warm, and especially that when it swings, like the way it's been doing, where it snowed last night, and I woke up to not a lot of snow on my car, but I had to brush it off before I left for work, and it's supposed to be 70 2 days from now. And be not in like 70 for like 2 days, 2.5 days, and then drop back down to like the 40s and cold and rainy, and that makes things hurt, and I don't like the hurt.
You just need to retire to Florida.
That's what I keep saying. I need to move to Boca or Miami, like the Golden Girls or something.
And then don't forget the allergies.
Yeah, that too.
Sinuses.
If it doesn't go to my hips or my knees, it goes straight to my sinuses. So, yes, I sound like I'm 80. I'm sorry.
You and me both, but
Yeah.
hey.
It's like, I know my driver's license says I'm only 35, but I have, due to various factors, my body has not aged well, so and I feel it. So, take care of yourself, little buddy. Exercise regularly, eat healthy.
Yep.
Don't end up like
Yep.
me.
And make sure to stretch.
But yeah,
we're working on all of those things.
Yeah, but yeah, you do kind of have to laugh. Otherwise, the alternative is either yelling or crying or saying words that may make Captain America very upset with you. So, so that being said, if anyone wants a real laugh, not just laughing at the weather, hey, if you're friends with me on Facebook, I've shared a few videos recently that I can share them on our Facebook page. Sometimes I'll be on Facebook and somebody will share a video, and you know how it is on Facebook, at least on the mobile app. If you open a video and it's like next video, and sometimes they're related, sometimes they're not. It can be like a cat video and then like a technology video and then like something else. you know, some sort of viral video or whatever. And sometimes I'll find myself just kind of scrolling through the mix of videos, and I've shared a few that are quite funny, including a cat climbing up a rock wall and a mongoose playing dead. Which the mongoose playing dead is, I think, is utterly hilarious. I'll have to make sure to share that on our wall, our Facebook page. So, so if you ever need a laugh, a legit laugh, and you use the Facebook mobile app, you know, if someone shares a video, you know, that they haven't like uploaded, if you can get that videos type page or whatever it is, scroll on through there. You'd be amazed at what you find. It can be quite entertaining.
Just a warning, you can get trapped.
Yes.
I've known like plenty of times where I've done that, and when I finally got away from it, it's a lot later than when I started. I'm like, wait,
yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah, that's like, the only thing.
What time is it now?
Yeah.
What year is it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You would think that, you know, even something like that, maybe they give you like 3 or 4 videos. No, it's like 20. So. Mm-hmm. But animal videos and other things like that are always entertaining. So I think I shared a video on not my personal page, but my blog / cosplay page of a video of a guy who did he was playing music, but it's essentially the background music you hear in almost every single video game ever, in like different levels. Like, you'll hear this style of music.
Oh, is it that guy, like, he says he's playing on the piano,
yeah,
like, just staring at the camera?
Yeah, he's just staring at the camera.
Kind of has like a very intense look.
Yeah, he's his look is like, it's kind of weirded out, but at the same time, it's like, dude, even this whole comments, you know, his captions and some of the spots, it's like, they're funny too. So, oh, it's all good.
I've been watching a lot of like Vine videos on YouTube. Yeah. I don't even know why. I watch them more now than I did when Vine was a thing.
They had to go somewhere.
Uh-huh. Like, I'm watching these, like, and most of them are, like, the cute, like, baby ones, and, like, kids, like, doing kid stuff, and just, like, I feel guilty laughing, because...
Yeah.
But, I still laugh, because it's funny, and babies, and pets, and bad combination.
Yeah.
A good combination. Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Babies and animals.
Yep.
Always good for a chuckle. At least.
This one's sort of real babies I've been doing, but Alex likes to watch Sesame Street videos, and I'm sure people have seen like the parody videos that they've done.
Oh yeah.
Of the movies, because Cookie Monster, I've loved Cookie Monster since I was little. And so I'm like, I want my child to like Cookie Monster too. And so so they have all these parodies of Cookie Monster starring in all these different movies. Like, there's the Hungry Games, there's a James Bond parody. Yeah. The funniest one...
You have to show him the one with Cookie Monster and Tom Hiddleston. When he gets a little older. With
I need to look that up.
Oh yeah, that's actually been on my Facebook a lot lately.
It is so funny and cute. So
yes. The one that Jared and I, because Jared he sometimes he'll be here when we're watching him, or when he's home, and it was Les Miserables, and it was Cookie Monster. Like, everyone, like, it's about emotions, and everybody is upset at Cookie Monster because he won't share. So they're doing, you know, the Sound of Angry Men, and they're marching through the streets and waving their fists in the air, and Cookie Monster's like, okay, I'm looking, you know, what they do with their faces and what they do with their bodies. They look angry, and they start singing about how he won't share his cookies. And he finally shares the cookies because he's like, I'm sorry I made you angry.
I think I remember seeing one
cracked up,
like a Pirates of the Caribbean one. Because I remember watching these like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean they've been around a long time, and I remember some of them when they were brand new. But we've just been looking up Sesame Street videos and watching the short ones. And there's also, which now he's being upset.
Yeah.
You mentioned there's also the Smart Cookie, where Cookie Monster is there. He's with a team of like crime fighting cookies. Oh, I'm sorry, honey. I'm talking about Cookie Monster, but he's Cookie Monster is not on the TV, so I need to change that. Later. So Cookie Monster's the rookie of this team, and they're always fighting against the Crumb, who's like this chef-looking Muppet. And then there's like not the Swedish chef, no, but he's got like a blue goatee and blue eyebrows but orange skin and all this kind of thing. And then so the team is now I gotta think what they're called, but they're all cookies, but they're talking cookies, and they're always fighting the Crumb, and they always tell Cookie Monster, because he's the rookie, okay, look out for the Crumb and make sure he doesn't come in. They give him a picture on his tablet of the Crumb. The Crumb always comes in, but he has like an eye patch, or he has a baby bonnet, or he's got a goofy nose. And Cookie Monster's like, oh, well, this picture, he's not wearing a baby bonnet, but you are, so you can come in. And then the Crumb steals whatever he's looking for. And then the rest of the team comes in and is like, Cookie, you let him in. And Cookie Monster's like, oh, me sorry.
Funny.
So anyway. So yeah, Sesame Street videos. Always a good time.
Yeah.
Yep. And you don't have to have a baby.
No, you don't.
Nope.
Like I said, I was watching these a couple years ago, and I had no excuse. I wanted to watch Sesame Street videos because it's my childhood, and it feeds my inner childhood and my inner geekiness with these parodies.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think there's like a Lord of the Rings one too. I remember.
Oh yeah, there's Lord of the Rings one, and there's one I'm looking through our YouTube channel or YouTube
one
thing
I
right now.
remember watching was Stranger
There's one
Things.
that's here. It's not Cookie Monster, but it's that I just found is Sons of Poetry instead of Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
I'm like, okay, I gotta watch this one when we're done because that's got to be hilarious.
Yeah, they've taken some what we would consider adult. Intellectual property and done parodies of them. They did a Game of Thrones parody, so
I was just
we watched that one the other day, Game of Chairs, and Grover is playing. He's playing music, and everybody's there. And there's the mommy of dragons.
Yep.
I have to see that.
Yeah.
Yes. That's something you definitely would not think of. Game of Thrones and Sesame Street.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Do it, and they play musical chairs, and it's cute.
Yep.
Game of Thrones and cute does not necessarily work together usually, but
no.
Usually. All right. Let's see. Next up is what are we listening to?
Well, what we're listening to is with Elton John announcing his retirement. There's been a couple tribute albums released this past week. One is called Revamp, which is kind of the modern day pop artists taking Elton John songs and kind of doing their own twist on it. When really good artists like Lady Gaga, Q-Tip, and a few others. And then Restoration is the country version of it. Oh, and then Miley Cyrus is on both, and she does an awesome job on the two songs that she does. And I've also listened to an older tribute album. Might be hard to find, but it's called Two Rooms, and it's basically like the classic rock artists doing their takes on Elton's numbers.
Mm.
So that's what I've been kind of listening to.
Yeah, the main thing I've been listening to is, well, I guess it kind of goes with reading, but not really. But yes, it does. It's the audiobook of the book North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those, classic English literature. You probably might. Some people might have read it in college. I missed this one somehow, and I had a friend a few years ago tell me that she liked it better than Pride and Prejudice. Because it's a little bit different. There's been a couple of mini series about it. The version I'm listening to is narrated by Juliet Stevenson. And it took me a really long time to figure out where I'd seen her or heard her voice from. Well, she sounds a lot like Emma Thompson, but she's actually in the Gwyneth Paltrow version of Emma. So I'm like, oh, that's where I've seen her. So I was like, but she's in a lot of British radio plays. She's one of those actresses that does a lot of period drama and stuff like that. So I don't know, I'm enjoying it. It was kind of a slow start. I wasn't sure if I was going to keep going with it. Then it kind of picked up in the middle, and now I'm like, I need to know what happens. And just all these things. It is one of those books that was, serialized in the newspaper, back in the 1800s, when that's how they read books, by reading serials in the newspaper. And so you can kind of tell from chapter, it's in writing circles, that's called pantsing. Like, you write it by the seat of your pants. You just make it up as you go. So I'm like, yeah, I can tell you did it that way, but you know what? It kind of works. So if you like that kind of literature, it's a good book to read or find the audiobook for, because I'm really enjoying the audiobook.
I think of what I've been listening to. Well, I discovered a new podcast like last month called Fantastic Geeks and Where to Find Them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's these two girls.
Oh yeah, this one with Tessa Netting and right?
Brizzy?
In Brizzy voices?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know they have a couple they have YouTube channels that are pretty popular. I haven't sat down and watched any of them, but
yeah,
I've been enjoying it. There's two girls geeking about everything.
That sounds familiar.
Right?
Yep.
And
who would want to listen to a
it's
show like
gee,
that?
Where'd that come from? No, I'm not.
as you can expect, the first thing they talked about was Harry Potter and Black Panther. Even when they're not talking about the Harry Potter franchise, they still bring Harry Potter into the conversation.
It's like
they
Lou
like
with
to sort
food.
the characters into houses.
That's funny.
So it's really good. It's like 5 episodes they have done so far.
Yep.
So,
And I've seen Tessa mention it a couple times. I just hadn't
yeah, they
put 2 and 2 together. Oh, this is a thing I should go download and go listen to.
Yeah. And they're short episodes.
yeah, they're like 30, 40 minutes, something like that.
Well, that's good. Cool.
So if you like us, after you're done listening to us, you should check them out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I
Need
said,
to add to your list of podcasts.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who would want to listen to a bunch of girls talk about nerdy things?
Well, somewhere there's an audience for it.
Obviously.
I'm teasing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. What have I been listening to? Well, after having it on repeat for like 2 months straight, I finally have set aside the Greatest Showman soundtrack. At least temporarily.
I I'm still listening to it.
I'm sure you're not the only one.
I walked out of the movie and I'm like, oh my god, I need to buy the soundtrack. And I haven't bought like a full album for anything in a while. That isn't like popular music. Like, you know, I got Awesome Mix Volume 2 when Guardians 2 came out, but it's like I haven't bought like a soundtrack to something in ages. Was like, I need the music to this, so I bought it and I've had it on repeat almost nonstop ever since. Not really stopping, but because of things I have coming up, I've kind of set it aside just so I can listen to other things. So I've been listening to pretty much the entire Weird Al catalog because I'm actually seeing him later this week.
Nice.
So,
and you never know what he's going to pull out of the.
Well, and that's the thing with this specific tour. It's the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised vanity tour, is what he's calling it, and it's going to be from what he said, and people I know that saw him when he was in town at a different city recently, is the whole idea is if you've ever seen Weird Al in the last 10, 15 years, I think, in concert, he does a lot of the his well-known parodies, Fat, and whatever the newest album is. There's a lot of costume changes, there's videos that play on the screen, there's lights and props and all sorts of fun stuff. In this case, it is none of that. No parodies, no costumes, no funny videos. He's doing originals, maybe style parodies where it's not a parody of a specific song, but maybe he does a song in a style that makes you think of a certain artist.
Okay.
So it's completely different than anything he's ever done before. He's touring with Emo Phillips, which has been interesting following both of them on Instagram. So at the way both of them look at the world and what they decide to post on their respective social medias, it's been quite interesting. And Emo Phillips is his own established comedian. If you may not know him from, if you're not into, I guess, comedy or that sort of thing, but if you've seen UHF, then he makes an appearance in UHF. He's the shop teacher that accidentally cuts off his own finger with the table saw. So we need to watch Chauncey and I we're going to watch UHF before we go to the show at some point this week. It'd be appropriate.
Sounds like a smart idea.
Yeah. So, appropriate movie is appropriate. So, I've been listening to a lot of Weird Al. Oh, darn.
Yeah.
First world problems.
I think that's what anybody does when they're they're going to be seeing somebody on their tour. They dig out all the albums. It's like, okay.
And I'm a huge Weird Al fan. Have been for quite a while. I don't own all of his albums. I have from like Alapalooza forward, I own everything. So like the first 3 or 4 albums that he ever released, I don't own. I should. After a while, buying CDs was kind of pointless. And my iPod doesn't work quite as well, and I don't necessarily want to load up my phone with a bunch of stuff and take up that valuable space on my phone. But so I made a playlist on YouTube because people have, between all of his music videos that he's actually uploaded on, the actual Weird Al Vivo channel, and then everyone else, a big fat playlist with pretty much everything. And have been listening to that, and so the real early stuff, especially the stuff that's not a parody, I don't know as well. So I've been trying to increase my Weird Al music knowledge before seeing him, but I'm super excited to see him. And then when I'm not listening to Weird Al and listening to the 5 bazillion podcasts that I listen to, I have started getting back into listening to Big Finish. Finally, I have not listened to anything Big Finish in ages. But they were doing the 99 for 99 pence or cents, or depending on your geographical location. Big Finish does a sale every now and then, so you can buy some of their stories for only 99 cents. So I picked up a few of those. A lot of it's the short trips, not a lot of the full audios. The big multi-hour type audios. Occasionally they do, because I did pick up Zagreus, so which I listened to. But more importantly, I started listening to the War Doctor series because hopefully at Indie PopCon I will be doing a panel that is related to. So won't know until we get the notice that what panels have been picked from the people who submitted them. But Russ McGee, who I interviewed at PopCon last year, that does some work for Big Finish, he approached me earlier this year. He's like, how would you feel about doing a panel at PopCon about the Time War? Like, oh, okay, that sounds good. So I was like, oh, I guess I gotta start listening to some Big Finish. First world problems.
Whoa! You have to listen to Big Finish.
Yeah.
Who is me?
Yeah, I know. Woe is me. So I've listened to the first War Doctor, the first I guess box set, and it's Big Finish. They're all good. The production quality is always top notch. But the War Doctor series especially, it is kind of sad knowing that there's only the 4 sets of War Doctors, because John Hurt is no longer with us. So it is kind of sad hearing his voice, knowing that this is all they got of him as the War Doctor beyond the Day of the Doctor. But
it's still pretty good.
Yeah, it's still really good. John Hurt is amazing. The characterization, it's exactly the same from Day of the Doctor, where he's obviously seen some things and done some things, and he's the War Doctor. He's renounced the name of the Doctor for a reason, yet he is hilarious. He is so sarcastic, and it's just got a incredible, the way he's written. He's got it's a great sense of humor, despite everything. And I'm looking forward to listening to the rest of it, along with, and then I'll need to jump over to the War Master series. Oh wow, woe is me. I have to listen to more Big Finish. So that's what I've been listening to. Weird Al and Big Finish, for the most part. So if you see me with my headphones in my ears, odds are that's probably what I'm listening to. Unless it's a podcast. I still have a bazillion podcasts I listen to. Travel the Vortex, Lou, WW Radio, stuff from NPR, How I Built This, TED Radio Hour.
Oh, there's so much to listen to. So little time.
Yeah, pretty much. So. All right. And what all are we?
Oh boy, for me, I'm kind of working back through some rewatches. I am working through a Crossing Jordan rewatch. I was able to find the complete series on DVD, as it's no longer on Netflix. And I'm also doing my Supernatural rewatch and working on my massive to-be read list.
Yep.
Which is adding exponentially by the day.
Yes, I mean that's
one of the things working in the middle school and being in English classes and teachers kind of knowing my tastes in books, and they're just like, "Have you tried this one? Have you tried this one? I think you'll like it." Like, okay,
and then you're like, "Gosh, I think I will too." Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, oh my gosh, my to-be read pub, you've got the book right in your hand. Sure, I'll take it.
Like, yeah, and then, well, I mean, if you're borrowing it from somebody, at least you're like, okay, I have a time limit.
Exactly. Yes.
Shit. But then you're like me and work at the library, and every time you come home, you're like, I'm going to take that one. I'm going to take that one. Oh crap! I have like 20 already at home.
Yes.
So I feel like
bags.
I take a book bag with me every time I go to work, and then I get a bunch of picture books because I'm doing.
Oh, of course, you have to bring stuff home for baby too.
Yeah, and we're doing the 1,000 books before kindergarten. I think I mentioned this last time we did the currently thing, and we're almost to 200. Yeah, we're almost to 200.
Wow, cool, great.
Yeah, we had some help a couple weeks ago, or was it week before last? Jared's mom was on spring break, so she came to help because she teaches 5th grade, and she came with my father-in-law to help watch Alex while Jared and I were at work. So she read to him quite a bit. So that was nice. And what else? Oh, and in Pokemon Go, they started this field research quest event, or I think this is a new feature. So like every time you do a certain thing, like you catch so many grass Pokemon, or you spin so many Pokestops, or you get so many great throws, you get rewards. So they load you up on research goal quests things, and some of them are like, find Pokestops you haven't been to. I'm like, you think I go out of my way to go somewhere new?
Right.
I'm not gonna pass anything I haven't passed before, but maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. So been doing that. Still playing Pokemon Go. I mean, I don't have time. I don't really get to go out, and the weather's been crappy, so I haven't been able to go out to any parks or anything and do like a whole afternoon of it. But when I'm going in and out from work or things, because the libraries, there's a lot of Pokestops and gyms nearby. So while I'm on my break or when I'm coming or going, I get a lot of stuff. So still playing that. Anyway, I think that's all I could think of that we're working on. And someone is working on a nap. Or he should be, anyway.
Not necessarily working on anything major, so... I'm working on the photo challenge this month. That's been fun. It's actually been harder than I thought it was going to be. I'm like, oh, it's going to be easy. I love all of these movies. This should be really easy to pick something. No, it's like picking a favorite child. It's like, what's my favorite thing or standout thing
how
from...
How many pictures can I add in the Instagram
Exactly. Exactly. It's like today was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I think I put up 6 pictures.
Well, there's so much material to choose from.
Yeah. So it's like, I need all, can I just put up the entire movie and every TV show that's on this list? That'll take care of it. So, and then I have started working on some cosplay for the upcoming convention season. So I'm not doing anything really big or complicated as far as sewing projects, just because my summer is a bit full as it is, and I won't have the time to dedicate to the amount of sewing.
Any sneak peeks or any sneak details that you could give?
I'm not. Let's see. I'm working on right now. I'm working on one thing that's not necessarily a cosplay. It's more like geeky clothing.
Oh, cool.
A geeky piece of clothing. I hope to have ready in time for Infinity War.
Nice.
And then I've got 2 that I started last year that I'm just adding to try to complete them. And then I've got one that will be new, completely new, started new this year, that we'll see. I don't think it'll be ready by PopCon, but hopefully it'll be ready by Gen Con. So,
Okay.
We'll see. that last one, I really do not want to have to sew everything, so I'm hoping to score at the thrift stores, but I need to find time to get to the thrift store to start scouring the racks for pieces. So, because I really do not want to have to sew another jacket if I can help it.
Don't blame you.
Pants, maybe. But jacket, not so much. I really don't want to have to sew another jacket. So I'm hoping I can get away with something and just accessorize it so that it's, gets me to where I want to be. So we shall see. Hopefully, crossing fingers. I'm already thinking of PopCon and the guests that are coming, and I'm because I always like to dress appropriately for the photo ops, whether it's in costume or a shirt, or something that's appropriate to whatever the person's known for. And it's I'm gonna have to do some costume changes while at the convention.
Well,
So
good hunting vibes sent your way.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting convention season. So between the different events and celebrity guests and other things. So, but it's all well and good. So, anyone else have anything they're working on besides a big pile of to read and to watch and to listen to?
Yeah, that's the peril of doing these sorts of things. I always add to my list.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, last is the last one is wishing.
Wishing for spring.
Yeah, really.
Yes. Yes.
I think we're all in agreement there. Wishing for warmer temperatures, less moisture, some sunshine. Definitely some sunshine.
Happiness for everybody.
Yeah.
In some way,
Yes.
shape, or form.
Yeah.
Yes, always.
Always. I would definitely take some warmer temperatures and some sunshine. I need to get out so I can get outside in some shorts and get some sunshine on these legs.
Mm-hmm.
I am so white right now.
Well, and too, the sun makes you happy.
Well, that too.
Yep.
That too. And I know there are people out there that are you got to be careful about your sun exposure because, skin cancer is a thing, and I totally understand and I totally agree, but my skin is much happier with a tan.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels better, it looks better.
Safer doing it the Mother Nature way outside instead of going to
in a bed.
booth.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
true.
Yeah, in a bed.
Yeah.
I'm glad you can tan. I haven't been able to tan since I was 10.
Yeah.
I burn more than I tan, so
Yeah.
I get enough sun to, be like, okay, I got my vitamin D, and now I have to go back in under the, sunscreen and the shade and
the SPF 50
cover up.
and the umbrella and the sunshades and big floppy hat. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I had a tan. I need to develop one before I go on my cruise, because I'm not going to get one on the cruise because I'm going to Alaska, not the Caribbean. So I need to get that tan before we go. Oh, but yeah. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. We're all just wishing for better weather.
Yes. And not too hot. I don't like it when it's, a gazillion degrees outside.
Yeah.
And I can't even enjoy it because it's too warm. I just want that nice, happy medium.
Yeah. I'll take the gazillion degrees, though. You want to send it my way?
You can have it.
I will gladly take it.
Yeah, well, I live in Utah and it's drier than dry, so we don't have too much. When it's humid here, it feels weird.
You're lucky.
Jared just walked in. He's like, "What's humid?"
Come to Wisconsin and Indiana in the summer, and you'll find out in a big time hurry.
Come to Wisconsin and Indiana in the summer, and you'll find out.
Yeah, we'll teach all about moisture, Jared. We get plenty of it. Could be 90% humidity and not raining.
Yep.
It's like soup outside. Wishing for rain.
Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't make it better; it makes it worse.
Yep.
I spent a year and a half in Florida. There were 2 summers. I was happy to not have the humidity when I came home.
Yep.
Christmas was great.
Oh, of course.
It was like 75 degrees. And I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
No snow. Yay.
Anyway.
Yeah, well. All right.
That's the extent of our wishes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've gotten to that point. That's all we're wishing for is just better weather.
Yes.
Although I will add another small wish, throwing it out to the gods, just because we still don't know yet. But I would like to wish that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does get renewed for one more season.
I know, me too.
They're doing so good.
Yeah. I mean, the season finale is in slightly over a month, and we still don't know if it's coming back yet. Which is weird.
Come on, ABC.
Yeah. And I've heard rumors both ways. That's the thing.
Yes,
like,
so have I. And I can't, some of my normal go-to sources, they haven't said anything yet one way or other.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, please, TV gods, just one more season. That's all I ask. One more.
Because the ratings have been decent. According to one of the sites that I go to, that when the final ratings come through, they always wind up adjusting up or staying steady, or if they do go down, it's only down by just a teeny tiny bit.
Yeah. So that's my other wish to the universe. Keep Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just one more season.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what's her name? Daft Punk. One more time.
Yeah. Well, sounds like we got all of our currently lists pretty well filled out.
Yep.
If any of our listeners ever want to chime in on what they're currently working on or listening to or reading or whatever else you want to chime in with, you're more than welcome to send us in feedback. In fact, we rather encourage it. Mm-hmm. Our email is 5ishfangirls@gmail.com, and let us know what you've been up to lately. And you can also find us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. You can also, if you want to get everything, come to our website, which is the5ishfangirls.com. You can also support us on Patreon, shop through our Amazon store, buy a 5ish Fangirls t-shirt, all on our website. And thank you for listening and supporting us, you guys. We love our audience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, thanks for making this so much fun.
Absolutely. And if you do support us on Patreon, or thinking of supporting us on Patreon, or again, if you already support us on Patreon and have not checked yet, I did post a little something specifically for our Patreon supporters to, one, give them kind of a sneak peek at what we are planning for next week's show. And giving them the opportunity to maybe put in their 2 cents worth. So on next week's topic. So, and if you're not supporting us on Patreon, well, you're just next week. It should be good though. I'm excited for next week's show. So, it's a topic that's been a long time coming. So, it's been on the list for quite a while. So it'll be a nice throwback for some of us. So I'm excited.
It'll be fun for sure.
Yeah, it shall be. I hope so. So, alrighty. Anything else? I don't think so. Oh, yes, don't forget the survey. I forgot to mention it last week. The survey is the link is still on our website. It should be on the right-hand side. I know it's a few people have filled it out, so we have got, but we will leave that up and going for a month or two, so probably close it around the time our birthday comes around, probably. So you've got time, no hurry, but if you got yourself 2-3 minutes, 5 at most, you're waiting for the oven to warm up or the microwave or something, pull it up, answer it. It's all completely anonymous, so but it just helps us get a better idea of who our listeners are and what you think about the show, because we can't improve unless you tell us what you would like, to hear or to see in some cases. So, all right. Other than that, I think we're good.
I think we are.
All right. Awesome. So, with that, we shall sign off for this week. So Chrissy can go to dinner.
Yes, birthday dinner for Jared.
Yep.
His birthday's not till next week, but we're doing it today.
Close enough.
Yep.
And Brittany's having technical difficulties.
Brittany said bye. Bye, Brittany.
Poor Brittany.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana, saying, just in case I happen to forget, happy early birthday, Jared.
Yes.
Been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.